Hi everyone, it is Katie from Without a Crystal Ball. How are you guys doing this morning? It is been a really busy couple days with the Duggar family, and I wanted to talk to you because a lot was happening yesterday, and I was like, should I say something? Should I not say something? What's going on? Well, there's been a lot of rumors. The locals in the area are starting to mutter, and there's been some spottings of police vehicles at the property along with near the property yesterday. So here is what we have going on. Yesterday, I woke up and I had a message from a friend. The friend said, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know that there's been a spotting near the Duggar property. It appears that there is a marked Tontitown police SUV along with several unmarked cars that are sort of hovering around and near the property." He's like, "I'm not sure if it is surveillance, if they're going to be doing another raid. The property at this time appears to be relatively quiet, but this is unusual because this is a very rural street. There's not a lot going on. And given what's been going on with the previous activity at Josh's business, along with them being Department of Homeland Security being at the Duggar home and excuse me, being at the Duggar home, I was like, this is interesting. HSI was just there. Now we have marked and unmarked cars near the property. And then he said, I don't know. The person said, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what it is. I'm just going to keep letting you guys know. So then I start getting messages from my other subscribers who are actually local. And I just want to say thank you to my subscribers who are local in the Arkansas, Tontitown, Springdale area for keeping me abreast of everything that's going on in this area. I promise you guys, I am definitely not stalking the Duggars. These photos are coming directly from my subscribers who are neighbors to the Duggars, who apparently are just extremely interested, as you are, into what's going on in the Duggar world. So yesterday, one of my subscribers contacted me and they were like, Katie, there's been a lot of activity at the Duggar compound today. They said there's a ton of white cars out parked in front of the house, which is unusual. There's been a lot of cars parked out at the white buildings next to the Duggar home, and there's lots of people walking in and out. I've seen Jason Duggar there, Jessa and Ben Duggar, and another Duggar. Oh gosh, I can't remember and Jed. So yesterday, while they drove by, they saw 4 Duggars going in and out of the property. Jessa and Ben, Jason, and Jed. During the time, they were bypassing the security gate of the home, which they said was weird. Instead, they were going through a part of the property's gate that was open, and they were just driving through onto the grass to the house versus using the security gate. So what the heck was going on? Well, here's what they sent me for photos. So yesterday, she said they drove past and the house was filled with all of these white cars, as you can see outside, and then a blue pickup truck parked right in front of the house. There are the home photos again. And then she noticed that there was tons and tons and tons of cars actually parked outside the white buildings by the home of the Duggars. These cars had not been there previously, and now when other subscribers had driven past there, it's not known if these cars are people that are working there, if these are potentially cars from one of their car lots, but the parking lot had been filled with cars. And they also noted that there was an SUV, a police SUV, that was actually parked at those white buildings, and there appeared to be an officer there on the premise. What the hell is going on here? So other news was that the car lot that the HSI people did investigate has now been completely stripped of everything. All the signs now are gone, all the cars are gone, and the only thing left is the shed. So we know that the Department of Homeland Security had gone to a business location of Josh Duggar called Wholesale Motor Cars. The parking lot, or the car lot, sold used cars and had been in operation for several years. This is the same car lot that Josh had been in trouble with only a year before with the city of Springdale for having violations for permits, along with violations for meeting codes for things like having a proper address listed, not having a smoke detector in there, that like all the zoning things of being a residential business. So that now is completely empty, and now there's a bunch of cars parked right outside of their white building that's along the side of the house on the Duggar property, and a ton of white unmarked cars or something parked near the house of the Duggars. There's been no official word from the Department of Homeland Security about what has been going on, but it's clear that something continues to go on with the amount of movement that's been going on and off. They said that when they drove into town, they also noticed that there was a house near the Champion Auto Lot that appeared to be occupied that hadn't been occupied before, with people wondering if some people had been put there, if maybe Josh was there. It's not known. We were not able to locate who has that address. I had people do some digging. I never got word back. There was lots of questions about other cars around different parking lots. Last week, one of the parking lots was actually closed. Their larger one, the Duggar Automotive. And while the Duggars were actually at the Branson theme park to look at the Christmas stuff, apparently what happened was there was people at that parking lot that looked to be in undercover or officials that were going into the property. They were on the property for quite some time, went into the building, and then came out carrying stuff afterwards. Now, it's not known if that was people that were related to the Duggars, if that was a continued investigation by the Department of Homeland Security, but the Department of Homeland Security, again, has not said anything. Interestingly, Radar Online actually did a Freedom of Information Act request to the Department of Homeland Security and requested that they release any information related to the investigation. The Department of Homeland Security declined to release any information. This is not now Radar Online did put this on their website, but I don't think that this should be any sort of surprise. Under the Freedom of Information Act, they would only release unclassified information, and it would be typically for investigations or cases that are already going or have had an indictment. In this case, if it's an investigation that is private, that they are doing under the guise of, say, it's classified or it's closed or it's not a public investigation or it hasn't been released, they don't actually have to tell us anything, and they don't have to release anything, because many of these investigations are not public until a formal indictment is made by a grand jury. So something's going on in this property, and then the rumor mills are starting to even get bigger. Now, a new blind item showed up on Crazy Days and Nights. And here is what the blind item says, and you can again take this for a grain of salt. But this same Crazy Days and Nights was the one that had a blind item that there had been a raid at a compound. So I think whoever the site is getting information and has someone in contact. Now, people say that the person that runs the site is an entertainment lawyer and is well connected in the industry. Who knows? And sometimes his blind items are right and sometimes they're wrong. So the blind item says, in addition to all of the other federal crimes this sprawling reality family is facing, some of which are horrific, are all of the money laundering, embezzling, and failure to report on tax charges at least 4 of the family face. They took all sorts of payments under the table and didn't report them, and spent them on strippers and escorts, not just for sex, but also paying for rent and other expenses. It is unknown if they are using them solely for themselves or were also hiring them out for added income. This latter seems likely, considering the agency's doing a great deal of investigating in what they do. The patriarch of the family is involved, and several other men in the family, including one who has been in trouble before. So this would seemingly mean that not only is there money laundering, tax evasion, according to this blind item, there also could be allegations of using escorts, using the money to fund prostitution, paying for them. Also, 4 people involved, the patriarch being Jim Bob, and then 1 child that's been in trouble before, Josh. Who the other 2 are, I don't know. Now, again, take that with a grain of salt. Now, another tipster who's in the area who has people on the ground there, he reached out to me on Twitter last night, and he said, and I'll tell you, that he heard that there's a local rumor mill and it's going crazy. 80% chance that this is essentially accurate. He said that they are going to do as much investigating as possible. Sometimes they will, and he said sometimes the Fed will like wait to see if anyone will try to cover things up, blah, blah, blah. But he said that it's related to porn and a ton of other bad things. They said that the tipster that they heard this from works in a position that is in frequent contact with law enforcement, and he provided them evidence of it. And he lives and works in the area, and the local rumor mill is going crazy. And then earlier this morning, he wrote, one of the Duggar men is going to be charged with possession of child pornography and related crimes next week. I've had this from 2 local sources, and I would guess it's 80% likely to be true. Wow. So again, this is not confirmed. The rumor mills are continuing to swirl, but I think it's safe to say that in cases like this, if the Department of Homeland Security is investigating, they're not going to say anything to us, 1. 2, if they are at a point where they're doing surveillance, executing warrants, and interviewing people, it's clear that this investigation is nearing the end, and the family would know that they are under investigation because they would have received a target letter when Josh's property was reviewed and if interviews were made by federal authorities like the Department of Homeland Security. Since this has been going on, the Duggars have not said a word since their initial statement about that they weren't under investigation to the best of their knowledge. So at this point, it sounds like, and this is similar to what I had heard previously from one of my friends who spoke to someone connected to this case that said that an arrest would be coming within the month. Oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? Obviously, we have to wait on bated breath, but as more and more information is trickling in, the rumors are staying the same, that this is somehow related to a ring of people. It's multiple people under investigation. It involves money laundering. It seems to appear maybe to involve trafficking of some sort along with photographs. Now, maybe videos. Again, take this all with a grain of salt. But I will say throughout this entire process, all of these claims have remained the same. And as things continue to remain the same, I'm getting more and more of this hint that this might be where there is smoke, there is fire. And when this finally does break, I have a sense that this is going to be major. This will probably, as I'm told by multiple people that I've spoke to, completely end the Duggars' career if this is true and if arrests are made, and it will shake up all of reality world. I know you guys want the arrests happen right now, and I'll do all of my best to continue to keep you guys abreast. I will note that people did contact and reach out to, apparently Jill has been seen multiple times at Amy's boutique over the last several days, and there's been a lot of movement of Duggars going in and out of the property, but at this point, no arrests have been made. So tell me what your thoughts are. Do you believe these blind items? Do you think there's relevance here? Oh, and I should note one more thing is that Suzanne from No Longer Quivering reported yesterday that she reached out to someone connected to a federal agency that stated that the IRS is actually in the process of conducting an investigation to the Duggars at this point. Although the IRS has not made a official confirmation, Suzanne did write that on her blog on Pathios that this source told her the IRS was investigating the Duggar family for various numbers of financial crimes. So there you go. All right, you guys, probably tax evasion. Who wants to bet they didn't pay their taxes? Who wants to bet they hid money in shell companies? I feel like they all have the same thing, right? Shell companies. And that's another thing, you guys. This year alone, more, I think at least 5 or 6 new LLCs have been set up by the Duggars that appear to not necessarily even have businesses connected to them. This is crazy. One was set up by Anna, one was set up by Jana, one was set up by Josiah, there was one set up by Jed. There are so many new LLCs this year alone. Now it's starting to smell like, are there shell companies that are sifting money through? This is going to be big, whatever it is. And I will keep you abreast as soon as I find out more. And if you are in the area and you have tips, make sure you follow me on Facebook at facebook.com/withoutacrystalball. You can also follow me on Instagram at Instagram is Without a Crystal Ball, and on Twitter at WOA Crystal Ball. I will be back with more. We still need to go through the Welcome to Plathville's latest episode, and I will talk with you guys soon. Bye.